as always. And we are making jambalaya.
Yay. This is one of my favorite recipes. It's a very labor-intensive recipe, so don't be intimidated. Just take it one step at a time. It's a great recipe to have your kids help out with because there's a lot to do, and the end product is really flavorful.
And if it's kind of too hard by yourself, then you can ask somebody that you know in your family can help, or somebody that lives near you that knows how to cook, and you don't know how to cook yet, then you can just call somebody or get somebody across the street or somebody.
Okay, so let's talk about what we need first. So first, for our meats, we need some bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. We're going to use 4 chicken thighs, 4 chicken legs. We're going to use some fresh local shrimp. We get it IQF, which is individually quick frozen, from some shrimpers out of Savannah. They are amazing shrimp and elevate any recipe we use. We're also going to use a can of diced tomatoes. Then we're going to include some sausage. This is a recipe based off of Jamie Oliver. He calls for either andouille, which is a smoked sausage, or fresh chorizo. You are free you are free to use whatever kind of sausage you want. Sometimes, if I know a lot of kids are going to eat it, these sausages can tend to be a little spicier. So sometimes I'll just use a regular smoked beef sausage, or a kielbasa, or a roasted garlic sausage, something that doesn't have too much spice in it. So feel free to mix and play with the type of sausage, or not the sausage in there if you like. Yes, I know, Sabrina, thank you. Now we're going to also use some salt, pepper, and cayenne pepper. We're going to use bay leaves. Jamie Oliver's recipe calls for fresh bay leaves. Those tend to be a little harder to find at a market, so dried bay leaves are fine. I double the amount of dried bay leaves to equal his fresh number. We're going to use a long grain rice, homemade chicken stock, and olive oil. And then our vegetables, we're going to use some celery, a green and orange bell pepper, and you're free to use whichever color you like. I find whatever's on sale. Some garlic, an onion. Again, I like to use a sweet onion just to combat some of the spiciness that can show up in this recipe. Some fresh thyme, one of my favorites, and some red Thai chilies. Those are pretty spicy, so you can decide whether or not to include them at all. And if you do, you can decide if you want to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, whichever floats your boat. Again, when I know children are going to be eating it, I tend to cut down. I do like a little bit of spice, so if nothing else, I will use 1. I like to use 1 when I can, and if I know it's not going to be a lot of kids eating it, I will use 3. So these are all the ingredients we need for our jambalaya. And so now we'll get to prepping all of the ingredients and get ready to cook. Now, so we've started prepping all of our vegetables and our meats, and now Sabrina's gonna finish chopping up the peppers, and I'll just explain what we've already done. So we've seasoned our chicken with the salt, pepper, and paprika pretty liberally. I've sliced up the sausage and took the casing off the fresh sausage. So if you decide to use fresh chorizo, use your card. Okay. You'll need to take the casing off and then chop it up. If you're using a dried sausage like the andouille, just leave it as is and just slice it. We've chopped up what is called the Holy Trinity in New Orleans cooking, and that's onion, peppers, celery. I've sliced the garlic. I cut up 6 cloves of garlic. Sabrina and I love the taste of garlic, so we tend to use a lot.
And I love the smell of it.
Yes, we love the smell of it. I only decided to use 1 red Thai chili this time. Again, because we have some family coming over who's gonna enjoy some of this jambalaya, so I didn't want to go crazy. Like I said, she's finishing up the peppers, and we are going to get the We're going to take you over to the stove and show you how we get this all assembled. One of the things that will make this doable, especially with children, is to get all of your ingredients ready to just go straight into your pot. It makes absolutely no sense to wait to prepare something when it's needed to be added in, because some of the things need to be added in quickly. Garlic is one of those things you do not want to burn in your pan because it can be pretty disgusting. So you want to make sure it's ready to go as soon as it needs to go in there. And then the next part, whatever comes after that, is ready to go. Our thyme, I'm not chopping because we're just going to throw some sprigs, the whole sprig right in there. I've already measured out our rice, and the chicken stock will be measured out, and so now we're gonna get that started. Okay, we're gonna take you over to our stove right now and get started. We're gonna use our largest Dutch oven for this. I like enameled cast iron for its non-stick abilities. It has a tight fitting lid. It's nice and heavy. It can hold this whole meal in. I'm using a 8-quart Dutch oven this time, so feel free to use what you've got. Anyway, so let's get started. Okay, first we're gonna get our Dutch oven heated on a medium heat, and now we're gonna add some olive oil, and we're gonna use this to brown our chicken and our sausage. That's good. That's good. We're gonna brown our chicken and our sausage. If you have a smaller Dutch oven and it all doesn't fit in one go, then just brown in batches, and then once it's all brown, just put it back in there to start cooking together. And then we're gonna add in a little bit of the fresh sausage first. Let's just tilt. Let me grab some of it. And because the smoked sausage I cut a little thinner this time, I'm going to wait a minute before I add. The fresh sausage will add some fat in along with the olive oil that we put in there. So we're gonna let this cook until, like I said, until everything gets brown, and then we will start adding in our other vegetables. Okay, now that your chicken starts to brown and the sausage are getting some color, you're going to want to add your Holy Trinity, which are onions. Dump it on in. That's good. Your peppers. And your celery. You're also gonna want to add in your thyme sprigs and your bay leaves. Just toss those in. And we're gonna let this cook for about 10 to 15 minutes to let the vegetables soften a little bit. Okay, so the chicken and veggies have been cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes just to soften a little bit. And now we're gonna add in our garlic and our red Thai chilies. So we're gonna stir this, and then we're gonna add in our chicken stock and our diced tomatoes in about a minute. Let's just get it all incorporated.
It's looking good here, guys. And when it's done, it might taste good.
Even better.
I remember having this.
You have. It was a while ago, but you had it.
When I was little?
Yeah, when you were little.
Jambalaya.
Say hi, I'm Sabrina.
Hey, Sabrina.
And
I'm gonna make jambalaya
with my mommy.
with my mommy.
Okay, so that's all incorporated. Now we want to add in our
Chicken stock.
yes, we're adding in 1.5 quarts of homemade chicken stock. Ours is still kind of frozen, so we're gonna let it thaw out. in there. And we're also gonna add in the diced tomatoes. Okay, so now we're gonna let this cook and come to a boil. And we're gonna let it boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're gonna turn down the heat, put on the lid, and let it cook for approximately 25 to 30 minutes. At this point now, we're cooking the chicken. We want it to easily fall off the bone. So you're waiting for that to happen. So this will take, I'd say, 3 to 5 minutes to come to a full boil with all the chicken broth thawed out. And then again, like I said, we're going to turn down the heat, put on the lid, and let the chicken boil for about 30 minutes, okay? So this is 3.5 cups of long grain rice. And you want to make sure you stir it in good. And then you also want to make sure, be careful. You also want to make sure, stir from the bottom. Put your spoon all the way to the bottom and do slow. There you go. You're gonna want to stir it every few minutes because you want to start getting all the flavor that's stuck to the bottom of your pan. And by using a enameled cast iron pan, it should come up pretty easily. So, okay, now we're gonna put the top back on. Sabrina? We're gonna put the top back on and let it cook for about 15 to 20 minutes to get all the wonderful flavors soaked into the rice. And then we'll be almost done. Okay, now as the rice starts to get to its done state, we're gonna add in the shrimp and let those cook just for a couple of minutes. No more than 3 minutes. I like to chop up half of the shrimp so that there's a lot of little pieces floating around in the jambalaya so everybody gets a bite. Also, just to let you know, these were frozen, remember? So I rehydrated them by putting them in a large bowl of cold water and letting the moisture soak back into the skin. That way you can peel them. I took the heads off, I deveined them, and like I said, I chopped up about half of them. So now they're gonna cook for 2 to 3 minutes. In this, actually you can turn off the heat because the residual heat from the jambalaya will cook the shrimp without making them rubbery. And then we will dish it out, okay?
Okay guys, our jambalaya is all done. And before we taste it, I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of lemon, okay?
Okay.
Time for the taste test.
And we're just gonna taste it.
Oh, yeah.
And remember, so we didn't take the bones out of the chicken prior, so this would be the time to take out the sprigs of thyme, the bay leaves, the bones, and the skin out of the chicken, and everything that's left is the good stuff.
That's good.
Okay, right. Okay. Oh yeah, that's really good.
I can taste some of the goodness.
Yeah.
Can you taste? Can you taste the goodness, Mom?
Yep. We want to thank you guys for sticking with us on this very long recipe that we did. We hope that if you try it at home, you enjoy it as much as we do. And don't forget to share the video if you enjoyed it. And I wanted to say you can find the recipe on our website, tastyfin.com. And we will see you next time.
And give us a thumbs up if you like this video.
Bye.
Bye.